Hi guys, I'm Anita and I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you a weekly wrap-up type of thing again. I rediscovered my love for weekly updates and I am currently reading quite a bit. So monthly long videos will not be the thing that I'll do much anymore. I don't think. I tried doing a monthly wrap-up a recent video that I uploaded and it was not very long. I haven't gotten much response on it, so I don't know what people think of it, but I feel like it's better to just do a weekly thing where I talk about the books in depth and not this monthly wrap-up thing. I think I've gone a little bit back and forth between how I want to do it, but I mean, you have to go with how you feel like at the moment, I guess. And right now I'm reading quite a bit and I would like to talk a little bit about the books that I have read. And I like this sort of shorter wrap-ups and you can see what I'm reading and a bit like the Monday reads. Just whenever I have time to sit down and film, so I don't have a strict day, I'm filming it. But every time I have like some books to talk about, and hopefully it'll be about sort of weekly because that means I keep up the pace of my reading. So yeah, anyway, since starting of February I finished 4 books. That's what I wanted to say, so I'm really happy about that. I think 4 books in 8 days is good. Isn't it the 8th? That's like 1 book every 2 days. The first thing I finished in February was Briefcases by Jim Butcher. This is the second of the 2 short story collections he has in the Dresden Files universe, as I'm sort of hyping myself up for the next coming release, which doesn't come out until July. It's been postponed from March to July. I decided to listen to this as I was really feeling like it. It has 12 stories. The overall collection is about 450 pages. So it's definitely sort of on the longer of short stories. I don't think this collection was as good and strong as the first one called Side Jobs. Side Jobs was a better collection overall, I think, but this one had some really good stories as well. I think my favorite stories in here were the one called Cold Case and Jury Duty, which one of them is from Molly's perspective. Molly is a really great character, and I think it was nice to see a story from her perspective. And then Jury Duty is forgotten right now what it actually entailed, but I just remember being completely in love with it. And then Today was good. It was like a story in 3 perspectives. It was from Harry's perspective, it was from Maggie's perspective. I'm not gonna say who Maggie is if you haven't read the series. And then Mouse's perspective. Mouse is Harry Dresden's dog. So that was fun. What threw me off a little bit with this collection was that I've been so used to James Marsters narrating all of the voices in this world, even though I know the stories from Molly's perspective were narrated by a woman, which was fine. She was a decent narrator, but even her voice seemed weird to me because I've been so used to it from the series. But the weirdest moment was like Day 1 is a story in here that is from Button's point of view, and he is like one of Harry's close. He is part of the investigation team a lot in Harry Dresden's the Dresden File books. He's sort of a scientist sort of type of guy, a doctor thing. And that was narrated by another dude, and Harry was in it. And when Harry was speaking, it sounded so off because it wasn't James Marsters narrating it, and it was the weirdest thing ever. So that really threw me off a lot. I also didn't like that story very much, but this got an overall star rating of 4.08, so it's a good 4-star collection for me. So definitely there's nothing wrong with it, it's just I was a little bit thrown off with how it was told. The next thing that I finished was Murder on Bank Street by Victoria Thompson. This is the 10th book in the Gaslight Mystery series, and wow, this book was amazing. It was quite a milestone in this one, I'd say. Already in the first book we know that Sarah is widowed. We find out about that like in the first 25% of the story. I don't remember when exactly, but you definitely know quite early on that she was widowed. And you also know that he was killed by someone, but no one ever found out who killed him. But in this one, Frank Malloy, the police detective we're also following this series, has finally gotten enough evidence that he can go for a real investigation in this and get some funding to actually search for this, because it was otherwise a closed case. And so finally Sarah can get some sort of closure with finding out the whole thing. But is she able to get the closure that she wants, or is there something more to her late husband that she didn't know about? Because why would someone search him out and kill him and all of that? And I went through a lot of different emotions, but I also just really enjoyed to see how Frank and Sarah's relationship is a bit complicated. It starts out really professional, but obviously as the books have progressed, it's become a little bit more. They are both have romantic feelings towards each other, but at this point they're still not an item, because they both think that it can't work because of different things that I can't say without spoiling a lot of things. But I love their relationship and how they're dealing with things for each other, and how they do so much for each other without the other one knowing as well. Yeah, I just really love this. And a lot of mystery series, you could totally read them out of order if you want to, because they're just like case of the week kind of thing you can dip in and out of. But with this one, I feel like you have to read them in order, because the character development is so prominent, and the majority of the mysteries takes up a lot of this, obviously. But there's a big chunk of this that follows these characters and their development and their relations and stuff. Much more so than I had experienced in other different mystery series. So I definitely recommend, if you want to start this, that you read them in the chronological order. But I love this series so much. I'm really, really into it, and this has definitely been my favorite in the series. I thought the mystery is done really well. I thought there's a character in here who I don't want to mention her, and I don't want to say what relations she has to any of the characters, but she goes undercover in this case, and she is just such an amazing character. I love her, how she's developing and getting to know her more. Yeah, and that was a really big part of it as well. Overall, I just love this one. It is my favorite book in this series so far. I give it a 4.5 stars. It was really close to being a 5 stars, but I am not quite there yet. Maybe one of the later ones I will do that, but this was definitely a really, really great book. The next thing that I finished was This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El-Mohtar. This is a science fiction book that is sort of a time travel thing, where these two people are communicating through letters to each other over space and time and stuff like that. And I don't know why I didn't remember. I just remember seeing that this was a time travel thing, and I was hooked. But I also, if I paid attention to the fact that this is a book that is written solely through letters or diary entries and stuff like that is the way it is written, I would have known I wouldn't have loved this as much as I wanted to, because one of my least favorite formats is reading books that is told through letters or diary entries. I think I've mentioned that quite often on my channel. That is not one a sort of format that I enjoy. And this was no different. I mean, there are obviously parts of it that I enjoy because it's very personal and it's very... And the letters were written really, really great. It's just, I never got invested in the characters in the story or anything because I don't know. It just lacked something in that it wasn't really there. I don't know. For me, it just didn't work for me. But I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's not like it was a bad story. It's not like it was, I didn't like it at all. It's just that the format is never one I super enjoy. So I end up on a 3 out of 5 stars for this one. And I'm a little sad because, like, once again, I was thrown into the hype of this book because it's so hyped at the moment. And I know I shouldn't always listen to all the hype, but I remember hearing about this all the way back about its release date and thinking I was going to love this book. And again, I didn't pay attention. So yeah, that is my thoughts about that one. It was really short though, so it took me no time to get through it. So I recommend it for if you want a quick short read. And if you don't have any problems with this sort of format, then I think you might really enjoy it. It's a pretty decent romance, I guess. I didn't connect with it, but a lot of people do. So yeah. The fourth and final book that I've finished this past week was Dead and Gone by Charlaine Harris. This is the 7th book in the Sookie Stackhouse mystery. It's been so long since I read the last Sookie Stackhouse book that I had almost forgotten what it all happened and who the characters were. It was kind of weird how they completely left my mind, except I remember Sookie pretty vividly, and I remember Eric and all of that. But there were a couple of characters I had to just, who was they? Who were they again? Who was that? But on the other hand, as I remembered things as it was explained over the book, I got into it again. But overall, like, these characters are not my favorite. I think Sookie is good, a pretty decent character, but I've never been interested in any of the romances. Like, a lot of people talk about how they are so in love with the idea of Sookie and Eric, and I'm like, really? I really haven't seen that. And I'm completely different when it comes to the enjoyment. The thing that I enjoy about it is the world and the action, the all of the things that happens in this between all of the vampires and werewolves and all of the intrigue. That is what gets me interested in reading these books, and it's never been about the romances. I really haven't been caring much about that. And compared to the TV show, it doesn't have as much sex and stuff as that has, so it's not even that it takes over or anything. But I was interested in this one. I think that there were some things that really was interesting. Like, you finally discovered something about Sookie. Sookie is able to hear people's thoughts, so all of the humans' thoughts, that is. And so it's a constant noise for her, but I guess that's why she's so drawn to the supernatural world, because she can't hear their thoughts and sort of like that. So in this one, we found out something about her family relation towards her dad that definitely made it more like you finally discovered why she's able, or maybe why she's able to hear people's thoughts, because it's not a normal human thing to be able to do. So it definitely made sense in that, and I thought that was pretty interesting. But overall, it was good enough. It was a decent book. It was not my favorite or anything, but I end up around 3 out of 5 stars for this one as well. But I'm happy I'm back in the series, and I will be continuing with the series and see where it ends up. It's not like I hate it or anything. It's just the main thing that drives me right now is the intrigue and the story, and not so much the characters themselves or anything. And there are some parts of it I really enjoy, and I hope that there will be things that happens in the later books that I will come to enjoy. So this is the last thing I've finished, but let's talk a little bit about the things that I'm working on, and I hope that I will finish over the next week. We'll see. I have just started on, like, today I've listened to like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think only 10 minutes of Lethal White by Robert Galbraith, also known as J.K. Rowling. This is the 4th book in the Common Strike series, and I am on page 16 out of 500 and something. So I have quite a while left, but I'm hoping I'll enjoy it. I'll be listening to this as I do things at home this weekend and over the next week, so hopefully I will enjoy it. Another book that I've made quite a bit of progress on is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I mean, I keep getting places, so it's definitely nice. I am on page 307 out of 782, so I have less than 500 pages left, so at least that's something. I think I've read about 75 pages this past week. I mean, it's not because I don't like it, but when I pick it up, I can only focus on a couple of chapters at a time, because it's written in a sort of, in such a different way, and it takes a lot of energy to absorb it. And but I'm happy I do get through a bit every day, except the only day this past week that I didn't read anything was, I mean, I didn't read anything yesterday and Sunday evening, but otherwise I've read something both Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, so I'm really happy about that, and I'm planning on trying to read something every weekday of this, and then see if I can't finish it by the end of February. But I'm closing in on the halfway point, but I'm about 38% into it or something like that. The last and final thing that I'm currently working on is Widow's Web by Jennifer Estep. I started this yesterday and I'm 14 chapters, about to start chapter 15. And I immediately remember why I really enjoy this. It's so easily read, it's so accessible in the writing style, and it flows by really quickly. The chapters are short, so you get through chapters in no time. I think I must be about 35% into it, and I started it only yesterday. I read an hour or something yesterday, and I read an hour today, and I'm already like close to like between 35 and 40% into it, and I think that's pretty decent progress. So I definitely know I can get through it quite easily, and I'm really enjoying it. It's super intriguing. Like, the minute that you get into this, you don't feel like you want to put it down, because it's so much is happening all the time in this, and I just really enjoy Jen as a character, our main character. Right now I'm a little annoyed with Owen, who is Jen's partner, and I have a feeling I'm not gonna like how he's going to act over the book, but I hope things will amend themselves. I hope that things will become better as the book goes on, but we'll see. I'm really enjoying it though, and hope I will be able to talk a little bit more about it next week when I've hopefully finished it. Otherwise, next week I'm planning on starting on the next Gaslight mystery books. I'm hoping to start on Murder on Baywhirley Place, which I hope to start on Monday. And then I don't know which one I'll get to next, and I will be obviously working on Lethal White. It's a quite long book, so I think it will definitely take me all of next week as well. So we'll see when I finish that one, but I'm happy with my progress so far. I know I'm getting into the longer books now, so I don't know how many I'll finish over the next week, but I'm happy I'm making progress on everything. Yeah, this was my wrap up for this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I've been talking about today. Are you thinking about picking any of the books up? What have you been reading recently? And definitely let me know about that as well. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Goodbye.